Well, we've got this old behemoth in the shop today. Unfortunately, this car is just a little too long. My brand old bay light doesn't quite fully shine underneath it. It's better than nothing, that's for sure. Well, I already took a peek under there and I'm not seeing any immediate problems with the fuel line. So I don't know, I think I'm just going to try gently putting some compressed air into that line there. That line goes back to the fuel tank. And we'll just see what happens. See if we hear bubbling in the tank or what. Well, I think I'm hearing it bubbling in the fuel tank. Let's see if you guys can hear it for me. Oh, well, I smell lots of gas fumes here, so I think we verified it, but we'll give her another shot. Okay, well, it is going back to the tank, so at least the pickup in the tank isn't plugged. But I did find the problem right when I was chooching her the second. Well, it ain't doing it now, but there's gas dripping right here, a bunch of it. And then when I put the pressure to this hose, I saw a whole bunch of little bubbles right here. This rubber line right here is just totally rotten and it's cracked. There, look at that. I give it a little bend and she's just breaking apart. So we found the problem. Cool. That's a next to free repair right there. As long as I actually have the hose to fit that, which I never ever do. Oh yes, I do. Right here. Oh no, that's a main line. Shoot. Well, I'll have to dig around and see what I can find. Alrighty, I pulled this fuel line off. You can see she's nice and crispy. And this is the crack that all that fuel was coming out of. It's kind of funny because, you know, it pulled off the fuel pump nipple relatively easy and it still felt like it had some flex. I didn't think this was going to be the problem, but it must have been just really, really good quality fuel line. Because normally when they get to this state, they're just like rock hard and just like snap like plastic when you bend them. That's probably original to the car. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna have to run to the old co-op today before work and get myself a bunch of this stuff again. I always get a nice big fat 10-15 foot roll, but it always ends up disappearing. It's in pretty high demand around here, I guess. Alrighty, next day I have myself some appropriately sized fuel hose, and I've already taken the liberty and slapped her on there. So no more electric fuel pump required, at least I hope anyways. When I was booting around with this thing there in the last video, I didn't realize how long I was running that old mechanical pump dry. So we'll have to see, we may have upset the rubber bits in there, or she might just work perfect. Should still have a nice full float bowl, so there we go. Oh, that engine light's coming on. Ever since shoot, I guess it ain't working. Ever since I bypassed my oil pressure switch for the gauge that used to be there, when it's cold the engine light will come on, but once it warms up it goes out. I wonder if I wrecked the pump driving it for so long with it not hooked up to fuel, or was the pump actually bad? I smell gas. Is it flooded out? No, it's dry, but I see gas down there. Oh my goodness. Okay, our fuel pump does work. I completely forgot to hook the fuel line up to the fuel filter here, so yeah, she was just pouring gas all over the top of the engine. Leave it to me. There's our piece we need to put in. Right, our fuel line is finally properly hooked up. Just give her a nice little tinkle, kind of pre-fill the bowl a bit maybe. And just give her a nice blast on there. Oh, left the key on, ready to go. What? That's all it had? Really, the frig that was more than that. It was flooded. This car used to have an issue with spark sometimes, where it would randomly just shut off, but it would usually restart. But sometimes it would do that where you just hit the key and it's just a dead crank until you let it go. Then it would just start. That's why I'm trying to give it little hits here, even though it's most likely just not picked up any fuel. Well, I guess we'll give her another little drink. Oh yeah. Holy. I can't believe how much gas this car takes to just do a little fart. Oh my goodness, come on man, let's just go already. Oh, there we go. About time. Except we're misfiring. Maybe it'll go away here in a second. I'm gonna have to take those two real oil foul plugs out again and clean them up. I used to heat the engine right up to operating temp, and then I'd take those two bad plugs out, and then I'd just fill those cylinders with seafoam, and then just like put the plugs back in, just like one thread, enough so that the pressure could bleed out. But yeah, that seafoam would just sit in there and just boil, and it would help a lot with the smoking and the runnability of the car. Basically for about a year. Ah, she's running pretty good now. Well, she's just not too happy this year, is she? What the heck? Well, now it's just not starting all over again. Well, it starts if you just don't pump it at all. Just try to rev it up a little. I don't know. That fuel pump might still be a little bit grouchy. That or my carb's starting to clog up a little. Because that was pretty brutally boggy there. Look at that, they just hazed out the yard. Sorry neighbor. Even the shop's all hazy. Ugh. Okay, will it rev up or is it just gonna die again? Oh no, she just mint now. Just plug it in onto this sketchy old power bar for a bit. Right on. Couldn't ask for anything more, I guess, eh? Yesterday I had just jumped the gun there and jacked her up and started looking underneath for fuel line problems. Then I, saved the easiest spot to check right there under the hood for last, because that's just the way you do it, I think I'm going to go ahead and check my diff fluid, because that old pumpkin there, she's looking a little wet. It was back around the time that I bought this car. I started getting crazy about synthetic oils, and I went through all the fleet that I had at the time and changed the old gear oil out in like the differentials and stuff, the synthetic 7590. But after a while I started noticing on a couple of cars my rear brakes were starting to get like overexcitable, like you press the brakes just a little bit and all of a sudden your back wheels start screeching on the pavement. So yeah, sure as crap, I took the wheel and drum off on both sides, and the axle seals were just seeping, when those were like totally fine before with the old Dino oil in it. And that's when I started doing some research and learned sometimes it's best not to put synthetic oil in something that's never gotten synthetic oil before, because a seal that doesn't leak with conventional non-synthetic oil can sometimes start to leak a bit when you put synthetic in it, purely just because synthetic is just way better at creeping through tight gaps, I guess. So long story short, I got rid of all the synthetic oils in just my differentials because I didn't care about transmissions and stuff like that, because it's not going to hurt nothing if it seeps a little bit. It usually never leaked enough to actually need to be topped up or anything. It would just seep a bit in the brakes and then just foul everything up. Anyways, took the synthetic out of all my diffs and put Dino oil back in. Then cleaned the brake drum assemblies on both sides, and never had a problem since. But this car never did get that swap back to conventional oil. It's still got the synthetic 7590 in it. And after like almost 10 years, we're just getting seepage from everywhere. You can see that cover gasket is just oozing, and you can see all the dust that's stuck on the ooze, and then it re-oozes, and then it gets more dust on it. I even noticed it looks like it's seeping out of where the axle goes into the pumpkin there, or the axle tube I should say. Unless that's just kind of coming back from this pinion seal that seems to be leaking a little bit. But again, you never see any drips. It's always just a little bit wet like that. So unless a differential has had synthetic in it since it was new, I always just use regular old non-synthetic gear oil in my diffs. But yeah, you can see better on this side. Like, doesn't it look like it's seeping out from the axle tube to the pumpkin there? That's crazy. I've never seen that before. Since I've got it jacked up in the air, I'm going to go ahead and check it out. Okay, let's see if I was feeling Hulk the day I put this plug back in. Well, I think I was feeling a little Hulk. Ooh. No, I'm going to need 2 hands. Holy smokers. Oh, okay, this is obviously before I started rethinking my drain plug torque values. Oh, here we go. Yeah, once upon a time I used to just kind of tighten these things till I couldn't no more for some reason. Alright, let's see how much we got in here. Ah, she's still just pouring out of there. Actually still looks pretty good. Okay, now just what you can snugly do with one hand right there, and that's all she needs. Let's hang up my fuel hose. So the next time we got a project like this and I'm on camera and I say, oh, I should have some fuel hose back here, I actually will. Well, I've decided to see if I can adjust this accelerator pump to pump a little harder. You get a temporary fix out of it. Oh, shoot, it's already doing a full pump, isn't it? Oh. Well, what's up with that? Look at it, it's like operating really slow. That's weird. Can you see that? And yeah, she's dumping gas in there. Well, I never noticed that before. Well, I don't know, I just went ahead and lubed everything up. It seems to be this plunger deal for the accelerator pump. I don't know if it's maybe just got lots of restriction and it's just really hard to push the thing in. Like I'm just pushing it by finger here and it's just slow as frig. And you can see steam coming out of here because the accelerator pump is actually working really good. It's just really slow. I had to guess there must be some sort of restriction, maybe on the output or something of that accelerator pump. Piston deal thing in there. And that's what's causing it to be so slow. So the carb probably just needs to come apart and get a thorough cleaning. Maybe that would fix it. But since I'm lazy, I just slapped some seafoam in a tank and we're just calling her a day. Maybe next summer this car will get a good carb cleaning and stuff. Okay, hopefully we don't get a backfire. She's got the soup's flooded. Oh, okay. Guess it wasn't flooded. As soon as I let off the gas, she fired right up. Oh, I can feel that seafoam just magically fixing it already. We gotta clean her out. Just kidding. I have her set on 4-banger. Woohoo! She's finally waking up and smelling the roses now. She's starting to act like her old, fairly happy self again. She's actually getting snappier. Would it be too far-fetched to say that that seafoam's loosening up that accelerator pump? That's probably just in my head. Nah, it's still got quite a bit of hesitation. Somebody must have been looking at my car and aggressively wiped all the dust off of the gauge lens there. I usually never do that. I used to, but I don't like doing that because it scratches them up. Some fisherman must have been driving by and wanted to look at it, I guess. Or maybe I did it and I just don't remember. Starting to hear the detonation a little bit. That's another reason why I would like to soak those cylinders in seafoam or something. I think I might try Marvel Mystery Oil this time for poops and giggles. It kind of cleans up the carbon in those oil burning cylinders a bit, and it kind of eliminates the detonation for a while. Yeah, when you get all that carbon buildup in cylinders like that, it'll start to glow a little bit once you get the engine warmed right up and start to pre-ignite the fuel, and you start getting that rattly pingy sound. Kind of do it from a stop. Little wee bit you can hear it there. And if you're not careful, like if you just hit the gas too hard when it's warmed right up, when it's in this detonation kind of state, it'll do it hard, like you took a hammer and just rapped on the engine under there a couple of times. It's rank. Right on. Well, we've already burnt a bit of our fuel. She's under a quarter now. We still got quite a bit to go, but I don't know. I said it was a waste at first, but this car has done a lot of sitting in the last few years. Like I said, it's lucky if it got 2 drives a year, so that'd probably be good for it. Put a little extra fuel in there and dilute and absorb any moisture that's starting to build up in there. And it needs the hours, that's for sure. So I'm gonna do a lot of ripping with this old girl for a day or two here. As long as I actually... Where am I going running circles here?